Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. I am Kristen
I'm Conticia.
and we are Two Broke Adjusters. So we're going to talk today about a few things that is going to be really up to date, very important for you all to know, everybody to know, honestly. We're going to bring up some up-to-date news, at least at this time and date, for the California fires that's happening. We're going to talk about who's deploying for new and also for old adjusters. So you want to make sure you stay in for that segment. And then our last segment today, we're going to go ahead and talk about what to expect. We're going to
Yeah.
speak on the areas for homeowners, and we're going to speak on the areas of adjusters, new and also seasoned. So you really want to stay in for that one. Anybody that's new, we're welcoming you with open arms. This is a podcast that is just having an empowerment moment, a community, one conversation at a time. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
So let's get into this. We do have the wildfires that are going on in California, and we do know that it's a big deal. The reason why I know that it's a big deal because there are text messages that are going out asking for new and seasoned adjusters to be deployed. All right. So I do want to give an update about the California wildfires. The latest update about these fires is that they're pretty much across Los Angeles. And actually, right now, from what I do see, that 24 people have been killed. It has destroyed more than 12,000 structures, scorched more than 60 square miles. The largest by far, the Palisades Eden wildfires continue to burn in Southern California. Now, one of the things I do want to make clear is there have been some people that did not have a chance to get out, but there are some that did have a chance to get out, but they wanted to defend their home. Now, I'm not quite sure if those that died in this catastrophe were the ones who tried to stay and defend their home and got caught up in it. I'm not sure. But one thing I will say is that life is precious and you can always rebuild. Mm-hmm. We have nothing against when Mother Nature comes in at your door or near you, you want to find the quickest way out because we just have nothing against Mother Nature. At some point, even the firefighters say once the winds get up to a certain mile per hour, they're not firefighters anymore. They're at pretty much spectating at that time because they don't have anything really to come against or combat Mother Nature once it gets to that point. Not the helicopters can't even go up in the sky to try to help put out the fire with the water that they have. They do have to also get out of the way to protect themselves. So when you do hear these sounds of evacuations, because a lot of times, Kristen, in Florida, when they say a hurricane coming, if it ain't a cat 4, we still in our house, we're cooking, playing video games. We're like, oh, it's nothing but a cat 3. We're not going anywhere. But the truth of the matter, you do want to get out of Dodge because you never know how these storms will take shape, how they'll take aim. You don't know how that water is going to be, how the winds are going to be. Right now in California, they were saying that the wind forecasted, they had, winds up to 75 to 100 miles per hour. What can you do with that? With fire?
Yeah.
You can do nothing with that. So one of the things I do want to say is that, we have to understand these homes, they are our homes, we've probably been in our whole lives. But when things like that happen, go ahead and get out of the way because you can always rebuild. Sometimes it's okay to lose the win. It's okay to start over. And I know that is an easy thing for me to say. I've started over before, I must say. And sometimes it is hard, but it can be also good and refreshing to get a fresh start. Don't lose your life trying to put out a fire that you don't have a chance to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Safety definitely comes first in this
Right.
aspect. And it just is, it's something that, it's a little eerie kind of to think about that we hold value into a lot of the material things that we're risking our life for it. So it's very important to make sure to understand that it is going to be rebuilt because at this moment, from what we know, FEMA is supposed to be getting involved. So if it got burnt down, FEMA is supposed to be getting involved. Now there is systems that go into it. So Auntie, can you let us know what's happening with FEMA? What are they doing for homeowners?
Well, right now, for what I understand, 40,000 people have applied for FEMA assistance. And right now, which they have already provided over 8 million so far for immediate needs. Now, one thing I can say is that President Biden, he did say that the federal government will pay 100% of the firefighting and recovery costs in the first 180 days. But the regional administration for FEMA, Robert Fenton, had to come back and sort of clear that up. He wants you to know that he pretty much said the max that FEMA really provides about $43,600. Okay. But he also wants you to know that FEMA is designed to help with unmet needs after insurance claims are paid. So you still have to file your insurance. And it happens with hurricanes as well. When we are on deployment, they come in, a lot of homeowners will call and they will ask for a denial letter because you need that denial letter in order to go further with FEMA. So either you're going to get a denial letter or you're going to get an estimate. You're going to get an estimate or a denial letter. And they're going to come in after what your insurance company won't cover. So that's pretty much with any disaster that we deal with. That's how FEMA come in. And FEMA is going to require, if you have some type of insurance, they're going to require that denial letter. When we handle the floods come in, insurance don't pay for flood. They still have to call us to get that denial letter so we can send that to FEMA. So they can send that to FEMA.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much how that works. So he came in to try to clean that up because Biden is saying, we're going to pay 100% of the cost. We're going to cover everything. That's not really how FEMA works. They come in for unmet needs. And right now they have spent about 8 million so far for immediate needs. That's like maybe hotels, shelter, clothing, to try to hold you over until you're able to file with your insurance company once the coast clears. So that's pretty much how that will work with FEMA. Also, I did want to mention that according to officials, 88,000 people in Los Angeles County right now were under evacuation orders as of Tuesday, which was this Tuesday morning. The curfews are in effect for the Palisades and Eaton fire zones from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So this is still an active situation. They still have fires popping up because the wind that was coming through is heavy and it's carrying the fires to start in new areas.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a huge deal.
Have they gotten any fires in containment at all? Any of them?
Well, in Los Angeles, I did see where they were allowing some people to come back home and take a look. Mm-hmm. They were allowing some of them to come back in. But right now, what happened with the newer fires that was popping up, they had to go in and try to address that. But with the winds picking up, what can you do when those winds start picking up? But, give evacuation orders. And you have to leave. When they give those evacuation orders, leave. Your home can be rebuilt. Things you can start over. I know it's a headache. It is frustrating, but that's what life sort of gives us. Don't lose your life behind it. Don't try to be a hero and stand up there and put a fire, the fire blazing. Those fires are very tricky. Next thing you know, you'll be surrounded and no one can come and get you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Kristen, what are you pretty much hearing about the deployments that are going on?
So just about that, those fires, they are projecting 150 billion damages in cost for the damages.
Did you say million or billion?
For LA, billion.
Yeah.
B. Yeah. B as in billionaire. So they are looking at that. So just to talk about that, that means we're moving into opportunities.
Now, unfortunately, let me just say this, not to cut you off, but unfortunately, this is how we get work.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately that in our career, in our industry, this is how we get work. Now, don't get me wrong. We're not wishing for people to lose their homes or lose their lives, But when these disasters do come, this is when we have the opportunity to go back to work, to be a part of the recovery effort.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for, is to help you recover, because we know disasters are going to happen. But I just have to be honest with you. This is how we get our work.
Yeah, and the thing about it, I appreciate your honesty. The thing about it, that everyone needs to understand for consumers, homeowners, policyholders, being patient is the biggest thing that's going to get everyone back into pre-loss condition. Everybody, the adjusters that's coming out there, you want to at least have that empathy. If you're going to go out in the field, going to go out and help be a part of the restoration process for all the people that's been affected by the fires. You need to have a little bit of empathy. You need to actually understand what it's like in their shoes.
Right.
Um, so you kind of have to be a little softer, read the policy back and forth if you can find them some coverage in some sort of way. See what you can
Right.
front end.
Because this is
Also,
going to be a large loss.
it's going to be
These
large loss.
homes are like gone. So
Yeah.
this is pretty much all large loss claims.
Or total loss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Large loss, total loss. I
Hmm.
mean, you're
Yeah.
more than likely going to be writing estimates up to what, maybe their policy limit. I don't know what their policy limit is, but LA, you're looking at
Yeah.
properties. So you're going to be writing line items, estimates up to millions of dollars.
Right.
So just keep that in mind, and then collaborating. But we're going to talk a little bit more about that, of expectations, especially for new and seasoned adjusters, a little later in the segment. So what we're going to do is get into some of these deployments. We already know there's at least approximately 150 billion um, cost and damages. So that means there's going to be a good cut of that going to the adjusters. Um, Crawford actually has been looking for people on standby. They're monitoring the wildfires, but again, we don't know what is actually going to be the final, because we do have fires still ongoing and spreading in different areas. A lot of times they're not going to have adjusters go in, especially if they haven't been able to even take a head count of what's going on and what's happening. And they still are needing some time to do that. They're working on it, but we don't know how many claims are in just yet. So they are looking for someone. Renfro actually ended up trying to hire, right? They actually was trying to deploy out under a State Farm account. Crawford isn't under a State Farm account. I don't remember the account they're under, but it's actually not State Farm. It's a different account. Actually a different segment in Crawford, if you ever call them. Um, and then you have ITEL Solution, or yes, ITEL Solution claims. I'll put that up. Their email. They are actually looking, and everything's going to be in the description box below. We're going to have everybody that's listed here that's going to be looking for deployments. These are people you want to call, send emails, and of your resume. ITEL actually submitted something that they're looking for independent adjusters immediately, but it's for Miami, Florida. They're looking for some other areas too, but Miami, Florida is what they're looking for. It doesn't have anything to do with the wildfires, but I still feel like at least bring it to your attention. They saying they want experienced adjusters. I believe it's maybe a 1 year contract, but you need to make sure you email their resume. I'll have that information down in the description box below.
Now, let me ask you this about EA Renfro. I do know that they were, sending out for people to deploy. From what I understood is that they were supposed to be there today, in Arkansas, but from what I
Yeah.
understand that they pushed the deployment date back.
Yeah,
Is
they
that?
were going to be, yeah, they were supposed to be in Glendale, Arizona.
Mhm.
Um, they did push it back. It's been delayed, but no one really knows the exact date just yet. They mentioned they did push the date back because of the fact the fires are still ongoing.
Yeah.
They don't know exactly what how many the claim load is going to be, or even how the adjusters are going to get in there. Yeah, so they did push it back. They decided to do Arizona, but then they changed it to Dallas, Texas, but it's still on standby. So, some people may not actually want to follow through with that deployment. So I will call EA Renfro, and at least still
Mhm.
say, hey, I'm interested. I would like to be on standby for field deployments. Now, keep in mind, all of these opportunities are field deployments at the
Yeah.
moment. They're not looking for anybody right now at the desk. Usually
No,
will
nothing.
come a little later, right? After the field already got their hands in there, and then we're handling more of the back end and probably supplements.
Right.
So you did mention there was one more that had
Oh,
emailed you.
it was Otter Claims. Otter Claim Solutions. I did get a notification that they were hiring, but it had nothing to do with the wildfires. They're looking for people. I think it was Tampa, Florida,
Hmm.
and Jacksonville, Florida. So Otter Claim Solutions are looking for people for the Florida area.
Are they looking for desk or field?
It said field.
Field. Okay. So like again, yeah, we're kind of a little tight on the field, but remember one of our videos that we did mention to you all, at least on our first video, we mentioned to you all, hey, if you want to get in there, a new adjuster, you might want to go into that field. So you
Yeah,
want,
most of them do have you on standby, but
yeah.
I think EA Renfro was the only one that I did see that had that was actually gave you a deployment date, and was letting you know the expectations of what they're looking for, what you need to have to come out there. But the
Hmm.
only thing is that they did push that date back, because that's what I figured, that they would push that date back, because I'm like, how would you send them out already, and
Hmm.
it's really not contained just yet for anyone to
Hmm.
be going there safely.
Yeah, and yeah, I think they rushed that.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk a little bit about the firms and not too into crazy detail, but we're gonna talk a little bit about the firms and maybe the positions they're in. I believe EA Renfro may be in a position where they were really trying to contain and seal that deployment with State Farm.
All
So
right.
I think they did rush it a little bit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
outside of that, yeah, that's all I can understand what you're saying. Like even when there's hail, wind and hail or tornadoes, we're
Yeah.
not coming in until all that's at least settled down a little bit more
Yeah.
to where someone can go in and assess the damages and people can start filing those claims. A lot of these people are gone. They're not at their homes. So let's go ahead and move on. So we're going to go ahead and end this segment and we're going to move into the expectations. What to expect when we're going to go out to California with these wildfires. Auntie, do you have anything that you at least know, like expectations? We did already speak on a homeowner side a little bit earlier about FEMA, but even just with the claim process, maybe things that homeowners can do. And then later we can start getting into what adjusters can do and maybe what to expect when they're going out there to California.
Right. So, whenever catastrophes happens, homeowners, they do get anxious, because it's an inconvenience. You're uncomfortable. You don't like where you're at. You see that your home is burned down. You see pretty much you've lost everything, and you really don't know what to do. So it is a scary part. But I do say, with homeowners, you want to uh, understand that you're not the only one affected. There's a whole lot of you all that are affected in the area, and just sort of try to keep your poise if you can. Help will come, but it is an uncomfortable situation. It is going to be uncomfortable anytime you're trying to put something back together. Intention, like they say, intention draws destruction or complication. So right now your intention is going to be, focused on how, you'll get your home back together. You want to already know, your information with your insurance company. You know who you're going to call once you're able to come and take a look at your home. And also remember that you're not the only one. So when you do make your claim, those adjusters do have to get themselves positioned to come out to your property, and then, go ahead and start adjusting it. Most of the time, homeowners are so anxious. They get so angry and so mad because they feel like they're being pushed behind, but that's not necessarily true. Help is coming. It just takes a little time to get the help to you, especially in this type of catastrophe, because we're talking about fire. We're talking about, heat, and these fires can just spark up at any time. So just be patient. We do know it's uncomfortable. I cannot act like it's not. It is uncomfortable. You're not in a comfortable state right now. You're in transition. You don't know what's going to happen. But just be poised and understand help is on the way.
Mhm. I recommend that you also just keep in mind to know that your policy may not cover everything. depending on the policy that's been written, especially these past few couple of years, as we notice that the insurance companies have made switches with their policy in effect of the kind of storms that's been happening now, which kind of put a lot of homeowners into a disadvantage. So just keep in mind, FEMA is going to be out there.
Yeah.
So, like again, what we stated earlier, whatever that the insurance company does is not able to cover under the policy, try to bring that up your to FEMA as well. See what they're
Right.
able to cover. So just don't think that, I understand a lot of insurers will be very frustrated, like, what does my policy do cover? But just keep in mind that right now, because this is catastrophic, so FEMA is on the side helping out for any backup things that insurance companies are not able to pay for. So just keep that in mind. Understand
Yeah.
that process.
And also remember that yes, FEMA is there. You do have your insurance first. FEMA will come in, but remember, it's all a process. It is all a process. Even with your insurance, it is all a process. So you do have to go through the process. Even when you're filing that claim with FEMA, it is a process. They're not just giving you money or writing you a check. They want to make sure all their requirements are met before they do give you those proceeds. So just remember, it's a process. It's a tedious process, but it will get done. You will be taken care of.
Yeah. Keep in mind with FEMA, they do investigate. So I actually had a FEMA associate call my phone today, investigating to see what we actually applied and covered
Yeah.
for the policy. So don't think that you can get by on them, because they will investigate
Yeah, that's
to
correct.
see if things were covered. So just understand there's conditions that has to be met. And they're doing some deep research. I mean, you got to keep in mind you're dealing with the government with FEMA. Um, so they're gonna investigate just as much as we are as well. We'll investigate. But in
Mm.
these cases with that total loss, large loss, keep in mind it's gonna take a little minute, and it's gonna be a lot of contractors, and it may seem like a show. So patience and poise and understanding will be your biggest thing. Now let's jump into our adjusters. Let's go ahead and end this segment off, or end this episode off, just speaking to our adjusters, season and non-season adjusters. What to expect when you are to go out there.
Now, as far as what to expect for adjusters, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to be uncomfortable. You may have to find a hotel that's an hour away from the catastrophe.
Or two.
An hour or two away. Because remember, they are looking for hotels too. They're out of their homes, so they're
Mhm.
going to need those hotels. So you're going to have to be creative. You're just going to have to be creative, and you're going to have patience with these homeowners, because remember, they get irate. They feel like they're not treated fairly. And I can also tell you, with the political climate that we have, you will have political opponents blaming each other for Mother Nature, trying to find some type of way to discount the other party. And so that gets into the heads of other consumers, and then they're mad at you. That happened in North Carolina when FEMA was there. And the people in North Carolina began to say they don't want to take FEMA's money. FEMA's this, because it was a political season, and they had to find some type of way to make that party look bad. But I'm going to tell you, anytime there's a help for me, I'm going to take it. I don't care what political party is saying what. I'm going to take that help, because at the end of the day, those people do not personally come and change your life.
Mhm.
They just don't, Democrat or Republican. So don't follow up with that. But that is a thing that adjusters are going to have to understand. The political climate is still high. And you do have now coming in saying, okay, well, it's the other party's fault that's going out. And so you're just gonna have to understand that you're gonna be in the fire with that. You're going to be pulled into that. And they're going to make you feel like you're not doing your job, but do your job. Do your job. Do the best that you can with the resources you have. But remember, this situation will more than likely be very uncomfortable for you too. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, let's so I want to also point out for the adjusters, at least for the field adjusters, there is going to be some equipment that you will need to have. 18 by or 22 foot ladders, you will need that. Although these are going to be total losses or large losses, not all homes are going to be completely lost. So you may have to get on the roof with some homes. Some homes may be partially burnt, or some homes may have smog or smoke damage with the smoke that came from the fires.
Mhm.
So you have to inspect all those things. Just have that just to be in case. A pitch gauge. Keep in mind, y'all need a pitch gauge. It's a little square and it's orange. Don't use the side with the degrees. Use the side with the pitch. You will need that. Get some boots. You need to get some boots. I would also get some steel toe boots if you can. Just some boots because you're going to be walking. If there's some large losses in this fire, just keep in mind there's going to be a lot of hazards that's going to be on the ground. You're going to
Mhm.
have to
Make
walk
sure you
around.
have masks
Yeah.
because you never know what the air quality is going to be still.
Hmm.
You don't know what the air quality is going to be. So you just want to make sure you have your first aid kit for yourself to keep yourself protected.
Yeah. You also want to bring in some extra water. Now, I
Mhm.
mean, there's a little controversy about the water at the moment. They're saying they have water. They're saying they don't have water. We don't know. But any deployment, if you're going to travel, you need to get at least a case or two of
Mhm.
water. Have that on hand for yourself, because you don't know. And if you can get like a little tank for gas, I will recommend you do that too, so you can have that extra gas. Because going driving to the West Coast, if you're driving East Coast to the West Coast, you're going to learn civilization is further and further away from each other. So it's not as if they're all close
Mhm.
up.
Well,
Another
what
thing,
about the chatter that you're hearing in the other in the other platforms of adjusters saying they're going to go, they're not going to go? What are you hearing out
yeah,
there?
yeah. So there is some chatter. You bringing that up. So basically, there's actually insurers probably seasoned that are actually arguing they would never go out there. They will not go out there unless they're making a certain amount of money a day.
And
Honestly,
these are adjusters saying that they're not going to go out there unless they're paying them a certain amount. Now, let me
yeah.
ask you this: can you sort of blame them the way they've treated us lately?
I can't. I can't blame them. I cannot blame them because when I was in California, I wasn't even making half of what they're demanding a day.
Mhm.
I wasn't even making a quarter of it. So yeah, I don't blame them. I've noticed that the firms that pays the most are the ones that are from insurance, small insurance companies or smaller firms. I won't even say smaller firms, but different
Mhm.
insurance companies. So if you can find another insurance company or something, find some contracts with other insurance firms. Maybe you can have a better bet on the component or fee base. And keep that in mind. It's definitely looking to be a fee base or component based deployments. Like you're going to have to make your money each claim close.
Yeah,
And some people are talking about that. It's very expensive out there. Again,
yeah.
you like again, we stated that there's going to be insureds probably in the same hotel that you're trying to stay in.
Hmm.
Honestly, when I went out into North Carolina for the hurricane, them hotels were upcharging. Okay, they were not cheap, and I
Hmm.
mean, these hotels are 2 hour out from Hendersonville or Asheville, North Carolina, where the road damage and flooding happened. Um, so just keep that in mind. There's going to be cases where you're going to be hours out. I mean,
Yeah.
and maybe in San Diego, who knows? But you're going to be hours away. And California is already expensive as is. So you never know. There's also a possibility you may have to sleep in your car. Go to a nearest Planet Fitness, take a little scrub a dub dub, and just go about your day to save on some money. There's just
Yeah.
cases like that where that can be the case. I haven't heard anything about where they're bringing any tents or anything like that. So I'm not sure. You may whatever you get, whoever you're getting deployed through. You want to ask them if the insurance company is providing like a tent or anything like that to where like gas or resources for adjusters that are out there, just kind of like a way for them to emergency to get
Hmm.
gather resources.
Hmm.
So keep that in mind. They did do that out here in when North Carolina happened. So at that time, State Farm did provide. like a tent for resources.
Mhm. Now, also
Lastly,
keep in mind,
mm-hmm,
just because someone else is saying they won't take it, they may be a seasoned adjuster and may have, their pockets right. Now, if
mm-hmm,
you're a newer adjuster or even have been out of work, don't let anyone talk you out of going to make your money and getting this
yeah,
experience. Don't let anyone do that. Don't get involved too much with the chatter.
mm-hmm,
You have to make your own decisions. That's why I always tell people, don't listen to especially what someone says about you. But you have to take a situation and evaluate it for yourself and know, okay, wait a minute, you may not go, but I need to go. And let me go
right,
ahead and take this chance and let me go make this money. So
right,
regardless of what the chatter said, they're not going. Okay, don't go, but I'm going.
right. And you want
Right.
to just keep in mind, like if you're able to get a nice high contract, like a nice the uh estimate, you may go out there and maybe sleeping in your car, maybe doing Planet Fitness, but hey, you saving the most money out of everybody. You saving more money
Right.
than season people.
Mhm.
So just keep that in mind. There's ways to, work around that system and really still come out on top, even if you're not going to be able to be a little comfortable for the time.
Right. Because sometimes, honey, everything is not comfortable. Growth is
Mhm.
not comfortable. So it just is what it is. But I tell you what, you will leave out there with some comfortable money in your pocket.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get into like the last part. This is a bonus. This is just a little quick bonus for the adjusters here. Do you think that going to California will be lucrative? That seems to be the biggest question right now.
Yeah, that'll be a question that it needs to be answered. And honestly, I don't have the answer. So we're going to leave that question open for our viewers, and you can put in the comments what you think. Is it going to be lucrative or not? Do you think the deployment would last long enough for it to be lucrative or not?
Hmm.
That's another thing, because these insurance companies are wanting to use their own people. So they'll get us in, to get the heat off them a little bit, and they'll exit us out real quick.
Okay, so that's about it. That's where we are at right now. I hope this was very informative for everybody. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah.
Everything that we spoke about, at least in detail, or not in detail, but at least in summary and spark note, will be in the description box in below. Well, not
Mhm.
everything. Don't think everything will be in there, but at least the pointers for what you'll know. Timestamps are also below if you want to go back and
Mhm.
rewatch some of the information that we spoke about. We do apologize for the lagginess. We are still learning and we're still working on everything, but I hope you all just can be patient with us as we are patient with ourselves as well. Without further ado, you have anything else you would like to say, Auntie?
Well, I would definitely like to say that just take a look at what's going on. Just again, be honest with yourself where you at. You don't have to follow the path of anyone else. You have your own journey. When we're working these claims and we're in this industry is shifting. It is shifting to where no one can really predict what's going to happen. So one of the things we want to do with our videos, we're raw. We're going to let you know we're not trying to be cute or perfect, but we're raw and we're going to give it to you, with our transparency. This is just how we are. So I just want you to know that, we're trying to build a community of us to where we're giving each other information. Like I always say, there's enough room in the sky for every bird to fly. So you don't have to worry about, who's going to take your space. It's a big sky. And so every bird can fly. So if you have any information, you want to let us know who's hiring or any tips that you want us to discuss on our next podcast, let us know because we are in a community and we're trying to build this thing to where we want us to keep working and come up with different ideas, that maybe we haven't tapped into, that we all can continue to make money because when we're out of work this long, we begin to lose things, trying to shift to different careers, because this is supposed to be like a recession proof. 2024 for me wasn't like that, and 2025 is starting off like that as well. So we're just a group, we're a community, and we want to build this and share information. So just remember, there's enough room in the sky for every bird to fly. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our podcast. This is how we can build our community. This is how we stay informed. We're not competing with one another. We're trying to build each other up so we all can stay working. We all can be creative in this space. Bye for now.
Bye.